Welcome to Dr. Bummy Able TV, where we inspire and inform you endlessly, with knowledge to guide, uplift, and grow. Thank you for joining, it's a journey, let's go. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. From wisdom to insight, each video's a gift, helping you rise, giving your spirit a lift. So hit that subscribe, stay tuned to see all the great things on Dr. Bummy Able TV. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. Dr. Bummy Able TV here for you. Inspire, educate, inform. That's what we do. Thanks for being part of this growing family. Let's keep shining together in unity.
Hello, and hello again. It is good to see you. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you to our guests, our viewers, everyone joining in to support, to ask questions, to send questions. Oh, thank you so much. We will start off. I can see our time is going very fast. So I'm honored to guide this discussion on a topic that speaks to both the heart and the soul, which is faith and spirituality through the eyes of Gen Zs. So in a world of rapid change, digital overload, shifting values and culture, the way young people connect with God, faith, spiritual identity is evolving. And for many adults, whether they're parents or pastors or mentors, this shift can actually be confusing and even unsettling sometimes. So traditional expressions of faith don't always resonate the same way. And the language of belief looks and sounds different. But Gen Zs, they aren't lost. They are seeking. The Gen Zs are not lost. They are seeking. So they are asking deep questions, exploring new ways of connecting with God, and often craving authenticity over routine and purpose over performance. So tonight we are not here to lecture or label. We are here to listen and not judge. So we're here to listen, to learn, to bridge the gap. This is a space for real voices, honest questions, and hopefully deeper understanding between generations, the older generation and the current generation. So whether you're you're here out of concern or curiosity, or calling, somebody's calling me. Thank you for opening, coming up here, and I will say let us begin the chat. Let me close this one. Yeah, let's begin the chat. So thank you very much for joining us. I've got our guest here. I'm expecting more of them, but if it's regular ones today, R and GTT, we are glad to have you here. Thank you very much, R and GTT, again for always joining, being consistent. Thank you. I'll go straight to the first question to GTT now that you're here, because we know the internet could play up at any time. So do you feel comfortable talking about your
I came to do something at Kure. Yeah, you came to do get where you did now.
GTT? I don't know if she's there or not. GTT, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Good evening, ma'am.
So the question is, do you feel comfortable talking about your faith with adults or church leaders? Why or why not? Do you feel comfortable? Did you hear my question? Okay, probably the internet is playing up again. GT, GTT, are you here? All right. So we are having this talk because we want to bridge a gap between generations, and we have our guests. We have GR, we have GTT. So if GTT is not here, I'll just go straight to the question for R. While we hold up that question for GTT, because that question is directed towards her. I'll go to R. How can adults on or spiritual, I mean, adults or spiritual mentors better support your faith journey without being pushy? Over to you, R.
Yeah, so in my life personally, I've had really good and supportive mentors, which I thank God for. But how they can support, your faith journey and things like that, I would say that they should more or less lead by example, not say one thing and then do the other, because otherwise that then is hypocrisy. And obviously a lot of Gen Z people nowadays, they copy what they see online or copy people and are influenced by their peers. So as an adult or spiritual mentor, then yeah, I think leading by example. And also they should like also listen as well, because since we're talking about the different generations, what's happening now wasn't, I mean, what am I saying? What's like the difficulties, I mean, that's happening now wouldn't be the same as the adults that they're speaking to. So it's more or less like listening and trying to understand and apply it to this generation, and not their own like their past experience that may not be relevant or helpful. So that's how I think that they can be supportive without being pushy.
Okay, thank you very much. So you've mentioned some points there about living by example, so that people don't look like hypocrites, telling the children to do one thing and they're going off to do another thing. Hypocrisy, living by example, being role models. And another way to better support the faith of young ones is to, what was the second one again? Yeah, is to
Listening.
listen. Yes, active listening to them, listening to them, and realizing that the generational gap means while the older ones were growing up, it was a different world entirely from now that the Gen Zs are, from the world the Gen Zs are growing up in. So there's no basis for comparison at all. There's no basis for comparison. So thank you very much for those points. I'll call on GTT. GTT, we kind of lost you, the network there. But the first one, which is for you, is do you feel comfortable talking about your faith with adults or church leaders? Why or why not?
Yes, ma. I feel comfortable talking about my faith with church leaders that are understandable, that are spiritual,
Mm,
that listen, that
mm,
more we that
okay. So I think the network is not on our side today. So you can hear from what she has said that she feels comfortable with, I mean, discussing spiritual matters and faith with those who are understandable, who can relate with what she's talking about or what the Gen Zs are talking about. So if we make ourselves distant um, from them, they will not be comfortable to talk with us. So the older generation need to more like, would I say, step down from the high horse kind of scenario, so that it can relate with the, not exactly behaving like them, not, you don't have to do the saggy and the, whatever teenagers or young ones do these days, uh, all sorts of things, or use the slangs before you can know that you actually understand them. But stepping down and realizing that when you were younger too, you would have wanted someone who could listen on that level. So thank you very much, GTT. So she is saying yes, she is free she's comfortable talking about her faith with adults or even church leaders who understand. But I'm sure she'll shy away from the ones that, she would not want to discuss with the ones that don't get it. Thank you very much. I'll go to R. I'll pick your number 7 question, which is, have you ever felt judged or misunderstood by religious people, and what happened? Because I know it's very easy to be misunderstood, and so what happened? How did you deal with it, and how would you also advise Gen Zs to deal with any form of misunderstanding by those who are, and when we say religious people, you know what we mean, whatever you understand it as. So over to you. Could you please explain?
Well, I was thinking when I was looking at this question, I was thinking about it, and up to now, I don't really feel like anyone really has judged me or misunderstood me. I can't lie. But like I know that I've heard of examples of people with like mental health struggles and them people saying that, oh, just pray about it, or you need more faith and it will go away. But they actually needed help. So
Mm,
like one example that I will share was someone like can have mental health issues, and it's obviously like a real problem. So yes, praying can help and things like that, but then also you shouldn't just leave the person isolated. I think you
mm,
should pray with them, pray for them, and also discuss some beneficial um some beneficial things that can help them to
mm,
overcome those feelings or something. And
yeah,
like I said earlier, listening as well is also really important, because with different generations, there are different things that you classify as problems.
yeah,
So that's why I think that, um, so not me personally, but that's why I
I know.
think that
Yeah.
they should, talk about what's happening with them, especially with this mental health aspect, which is unfortunately really big in Gen Z.
Mm,
Um, having support, I don't want to say real support, because praying to God is real, but
yes.
having support that you can speak to
Practical.
someone. Yeah,
Mm.
practical ways to deal with it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. That's so enlightening. So, but do you have any not reason now? Do you have any idea of why there's so much of mental health issues amongst Gen Zs in these days?
I feel like because there's a lot of things going on, and there's so many people, that have
I know how to
influence
network.
over other
Sorry,
people.
1 minute.
I know
All
how
the
to
way.
network.
Let me mute her. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying that there's so much influence and media, just
Mm,
people. I think it's just a lot, to be honest.
mm,
With this digital day and age, there's a lot going on, and lots of people don't know how to handle what they see, what they find, things like that. So I mean, I can't really say I know, but at the same time, I have a little insight as
mm,
to why mental health is such a big thing.
mm,
And I also feel like it's sometimes glorified on social media, because some people saying, oh, um if you do this, then you probably have this mental disorder, and people are diagnosing themselves, say, oh, I
mm,
have this, I have that, when in
mm,
reality it's just a normal characteristic of the human nature, and people are classifying it as a mental health condition. So I think there's a thin underline a thin line between what's quote unquote normal and what is mental health disorder. And I
yeah.
feel like people are just mixing it up too much, and that's I guess that's why there's also a big stigma with mental health.
Mm,
I don't know. I feel yes, is accepted, it should be spoken about, but there's also lots of confusion about it.
yeah.
So that's why I think that was quite big, to be honest.
Yeah, like somebody was saying the word trauma has been thunder has been overused. The word trauma. People say, "Oh, I'm trauma," or even depressed. Any little, "Oh, I'm depressed." or and I think these are actually medical conditions, being traumatized, being so people use it just loosely anyhow. And because of that, when you hear someone tell you, oh, I'm depressed, you don't want to push anything, you don't want to, you just want to like leave them to process it, and not say, oh, who are you to tell them they are not, if they say they are, if they say they are traumatized, or how will you say they are not, so there's so much going on with, like you said, people diagnose themselves already. And sometimes it could just be leaving that phone for, if you can do without that phone for 24 hours and just have a good sleep, that whatever is going on within you would go away. Or just find time to eat good food or drink water. Even ordinary drinking water is another thing. People just get agitated and diagnosed with so many things, not knowing that actually it has to do with lifestyle and diet. So there's so many things, like you said, there's a fine line. So also from what you mentioned something about praying for people and praying with them, not just pray for them, pray with them as well. And that would be one thing, because we know that we're living in a world that is spiritual. And if you don't get that, well, if like they say, if you don't get it, forget about it. So the life is spiritual. Okay, that's another topic for another day. But yeah, so thank you very much for that insight.
Yeah, and I
So
also
helpful.
want to add the language that people use as well. Anything that, for example, if someone does something by mistake, they say, "Oh, you're autistic." Like, why
Mm,
would you say that to somebody? Or someone is looking sad, you're saying, "Oh, you look depressed." So these kind of things, these kind of languages that people use, that's also the problem as
mm,
well. That's
mm.
adding to the situation, which I think is very wrong and it shouldn't be done. But unfortunately, lots and lots of people are just throwing around these words without knowing the actual impact it has on the person.
Yes, true, true, true. And words are life. Our words, Bible says, our words can kill and can build. Our words can give life or bring death. So when people start labeling others with all these names, all these negative names, oh, any little thing, oh, you're dyslexic, or you're this, or you're that, the words are powerful. They begin to create, and if the person you're talking to is not solidly rooted in their faith or their belief system, or they've got, they are fragile, they begin to imbibe this and say, oh, okay, maybe I actually am. Oh, maybe I'm actually depressed, when they use those words for them. So people just use words loosely, like you said. So thank you very much for that. I will call on GTT. GTT, are you ready for us? Oh, good. Can we go ahead? So I'll go ahead with this question of yours, which is, what's one thing you wish the older generation understood about how you experience God?
Okay, ma. One thing I wish the older generation understand about experiencing God is the fact that He's not only in the for example, it's not only in the church or maybe in a church service that we can experience God, or through tradition or stuff like that. Basically, you can experience God through listening to music, being in a deep conversation with friends that, yeah, are dropping ideas on what they'll be talking about, or just having a night section of prayer, not just being in church or following this tradition, this way of worshiping or anything like that. I personally, mostly I communicate with God through my music, music I listen to and stuff like that.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So she's telling us now that there are other ways of experiencing God, not just the traditional ways. Oh, for you to meet with God, you have to you have to be in church. You can't experience God at home. It's only in the four walls, the four walls of a church. That's where. But forgetting that the Bible tells us we are actually the church. It says where two or three of you are gathered. If you like, gather on the garden, gather, wherever, as long as you're gathered. It says I'll be there in their midst. So that understanding as well, that there are other ways people can experience God, is not just within the four walls of a church. So thank you very much, GTT, for that. That's so helpful to know. Thank you, viewers, for joining. Thank you for coming here. If you've got any comment, please write in the box. Are you liking the video? Are you sharing it? Please send a message right now on the comment and let us know that you're actually here with us and you're listening. If you've got any questions, please, we have our guests here to our Gen Z is here to throw more light on those questions. Thank you very much. I'll go on to R. R, your final question for the day is, what makes faith feel real and relevant to you? And what makes it feel outdated, if it does?
For me personally, faith is definitely real and relevant and definitely not outdated. God is real.
Mm.
God is alive. And I've seen too much, and He's done too much in my life for me to deny it. I know everyone else's experiences are different, but for me personally, I can say that my faith is real and very relevant to me. What makes it real? The fact that I speak to God every day, and the fact that my prayers in the past and in the future and presently, they've been answered. So, sometimes, and just also, like, looking outside right now, from my window, I can see so much things, and no one can tell me that all of this came from a big bang. Okay, that's my personal opinion, but just looking at this and you're just seeing, the trees, the sky, the waters, the animals. Like, this is so much more than just a big bang. There's obviously a God alive. So that's that. And then also, oh yeah, and then also the way, like, things have happened in my life that are so unexplainable, in a good way, unexplainable, surprising. I'm just like, oh, how? And you're like, it can only be God. There's so many examples. I'm just so grateful to Him. Even speaking about it makes me excited. So you can't say, oh, there's no God. There definitely is a God. Okay. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Okay, just for the sake of those just joining the live session who did not hear you, maybe they may not have time to rewatch immediately. Can you tell us again what you said? Because what you just said is so rich. Can you tell us what makes faith feel real and relevant to you, and what makes it feel outdated? Just if you could repeat what you said again, because it's so helpful to hear that again.
Okay, so I said that there's so much in the world, like the nature, the animals, the sky, everything. No one can tell me that a Big Bang created all this. There's definitely a God, and just looking at it, it's so unexplainable. That's one. Then two, there's so much things in my life that's happened that is unexplainable, but in a good way. That you're asking, oh, how did this happen? How did I get from point A to point B like this? And then the only reason and explanation for it is that it can only be God. And then the third one was that I pray to Him every day, and He's been answering my prayers, and I can see it in my life. So that's what I said.
Yeah. So meaning that you have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for your answer. Thank you very much. I go on to the last question of the day by GTT. GTT, are you here with us?
Yes, ma.
Yes. The last question is, how do you handle seasons when you feel distant from God? How do you handle seasons when you feel distant from God? We can't hear you. While we are waiting, because I know she said the internet is playing up. While we're waiting for GTT, um, R, have you got any other thing to say to us as we round up from all of these? We have discussed about faith and spirituality. So, viewers, if you're out there and you're listening, we are rounding up the session now about faith and spirituality, a Gen Z chat show where we have a chat with the Gen Zs to find out what they are thinking, what their mindset is about different topics. And there's so much that has come from these ones in the past few weeks. Next week, we will be having, let me see if I can have it there before I ask you for your last one, R. The next one we'll be having, do I have it here? I don't think so. Let me see if I can. So we will be going in. I just want to bring up the next one we will be having, which is, yes. So it's about purpose, ambition, Let me take that one off. So the one we'll be having next week, let me take this off. The next one we'll be having is purpose, ambition, and money. And I've actually used Mr. Beast there as has something on the thumbnail. So we know what that means. The Gen Zs are blazing with so much influence out there, being influencers and all of that. So watch out for the next one next week. Now, for my guests, are you back, GTT? Is GTT back? If not, we will just round up. But before we round up, R, can you please give us a summary of what we have said today, what we have, what you'd like to emphasize on as your parting gift for today? Your parting word for today. Yes.
I'd just like to say thank you everyone joining, and faith and spirituality is very important. If you have a relationship with God, then you should definitely work on it, and that I hope that you find the right people to encourage you in your spiritual life. And yeah.
Thank you. So thank you very much. GTT was here earlier, but her internet has kicked her out. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to speak with you. It's such a delight, and we thank you for finding time as we wait for next week's session on purpose, ambition, and money. Thank you, and have a very good evening. Thank you, GTT. Thank you, R. Have a lovely evening. Thank you, viewers. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and let us share the news with people who are distant, who have a generational gap with their what's it called, their youths, if so to say. So today I would just like to round up by saying it has been a powerful session. Thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you for showing your support, and I pray that your courage, thank you for the courage to speak from your heart. And you've just reminded us that spirituality is alive and well. It just may not look like what we're used to, but it is alive and well. And to our adult viewers and listeners, thank you for leaning in, for being willing to hear the perspectives that might challenge, stretch, or even heal. Faith isn't just passed down. It is built together. One conversation, one relationship, one act of grace at a time. Let's leave here reminding ourselves that we don't need to have all the answers, but we must be willing to ask better questions, listen without judgment. We listen, we don't judge, and walk alongside the next generation with love and humility. So until next time, stay rooted, stay open in your spirit, and connect in purpose. God bless you. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Have you subscribed and liked? Welcome to Dr. Bummy Able TV, where we inspire and inform you endlessly, with knowledge to guide, uplift, and grow. Thank you for joining, it's a journey, let's go. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. From wisdom to insight, each video's a gift, helping you rise, giving your spirit a lift. So hit that subscribe, stay tuned to see all the great things on Dr. Bummy Able TV. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game.